All right, so picture this with me. Christmas 1936, a cozy gathering in the Hollywood Hills.
Sounds festive.
Yeah. And our source for this deep dive is a chapter from Pasted Text.
Okay.
And it describes this fascinating Christmas gathering. The author is a yogi who had just returned from a year-long journey.
A year-long journey.
Through Europe and India.
Wow.
So he's playing host to all his students at his Mount Washington Center.
Oh.
He's brought back gifts for everyone.
Oh, wow.
Persian carpets, Belgian lace, Indian delicacies, talk about a worldly Santa Claus.
Yep.
But there's one gift, a simple silver cup, that has this really profound backstory that stretches back over 40 years.
Over 40 years. So we're about to unpack a story within a story here.
Mm-hmm.
What's so special about this silver cup?
Well, the recipient of this cup was a Mr. Dickinson,
Okay.
a longtime student of the author. But to understand, the weight of this gift, we need to go back to Mr. Dickinson's childhood.
Right.
So imagine a 5-year-old boy playing by a 15-foot pool, and suddenly he's pushed in, he can't swim. And as he's drowning, he has this vivid vision of a man with calming eyes.
Oh, wow.
He's rescued, of course, but the image of this man stays with him.
A near-death experience at such a young age that's bound to leave a mark.
Right.
It sounds like the classic setup for a spiritual awakening.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Fast forward 12 years, he's 17 now, and attending a lecture by none other than Swami Vivekananda.
Oh, wow.
Now, for those who aren't familiar, Vivekananda was a key figure in introducing yoga and a Vedanta philosophy to the West.
Right.
He was a disciple of the renowned Ramakrishna Paramahansa, a mystic who preached the unity of all religions.
So Vivekananda would have been a pretty big deal at the time, especially for someone interested in spirituality.
Absolutely. And guess what?
What?
Mr. Dickinson sees Vivekananda and instantly recognizes him as the man from his vision all those years ago.
Now, that's what I call a sign.
Right.
It almost feels fated, like he was meant to be there.
And here's where it gets even more fascinating.
Right.
Vivekananda, sensing something special in young Mr. Dickinson, tells him that his true teacher is yet to come. But when he does, he will present him with a silver cup, pouring blessings that he can't even comprehend at this point.
So we have a prophecy now.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the author of our book, the one who gave Mr. Dickinson the silver cup, is the teacher Vivekananda was talking about.
You guessed it. Years pass, and in 1925, Mr. Dickinson attends one of the author's lectures.
Okay.
And boom, recognizes him as the one Vivekananda had foretold.
Wow.
And then comes Christmas, 1936, and the silver cup is finally given.
Wow.
Can you imagine the emotions that must have been swirling around in that moment?
Yeah.
43 years of waiting, a prophecy fulfilled, and a simple silver cup transformed into a symbol of destiny and spiritual connection.
It's almost like that silver cup becomes a physical manifestation of that initial vision.
Right.
The near-death experience and the prophecy all rolled into one. It's a potent symbol, not just of the Guru Shishya tradition, but of the idea that our lives might be guided by forces we don't fully understand.
And that's exactly what makes this story so compelling. But what makes this even more interesting is that it isn't simply about Mr. Dickinson's journey.
Okay.
There's a universal message here that goes beyond this specific tale.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, me too.
It really does make you think, doesn't it, about whether we're all walking around with these hidden prophecies, these signposts pointing us toward our destiny. But how do we learn to recognize them? Because, let's be honest, a near-death experience and a vision of a famous Swami aren't exactly everyday occurrences.
Right. I mean, not all of us are going to have such dramatic encounters, but I think that's where the idea of the silver cup becomes so powerful.
Okay.
It's a metaphor for those seemingly insignificant moments or objects that might actually hold deep personal meaning.
It's like the universe is speaking to us in this subtle language.
Yeah.
Using symbols and synchronicities. Think about it. We've all had those weird coincidences, those moments where the right book falls into our lap at the perfect time, or we bump into someone who ends up playing a pivotal role in our lives.
Or even something as simple as a song on the radio that seems to perfectly capture what we're feeling at that moment.
Exactly. It's about being attuned to those subtle nudges, those moments that make you pause and think, wait a minute, is there something more going on here?
So it's not necessarily about looking for grand life-altering events, but about paying attention to the details.
Right.
To the seemingly mundane occurrences that might actually be packed with meaning.
Precisely. And I think that's where the concept of faith comes in. It's about trusting that there's a bigger picture even if we can't always see it. Mr. Dickinson held on to that prophecy for 43 years. That's a testament to the power of belief and the human capacity to trust in something beyond the immediate tangible world.
It makes you wonder how many opportunities we might miss because we're not paying attention, or because we're too quick to dismiss something as mere coincidence. What if every chance encounter, every unexpected twist of fate, is actually a potential silver cup in disguise?
Now, I'm not suggesting that we need to overanalyze every little thing that happens.
Yeah.
But I do think there's value in cultivating a sense of curiosity and openness to the possibility that there might be more to life than meets the eye.
It's about finding that balance between skepticism and open-mindedness.
Yes.
Not dismissing everything as random chance, but also not getting caught up in magical thinking.
It's interesting to consider the different lenses we use to interpret events in our lives. Someone who's more scientifically minded might see Mr. Dickinson's experience as a series of coincidences, while someone with a more spiritual inclination might see it as evidence of divine intervention or destiny.
But I think the beauty of this story is that it can resonate with people regardless of their personal beliefs.
Absolutely. At its core, it's a story about faith, hope, and the enduring human need to find meaning and purpose in our lives.
And it reminds us that those things often come in unexpected packages. Maybe our silver cup isn't a physical object at all, but a realization, a change in perspective, or a newfound sense of connection to something larger than ourselves.
So the question becomes, how do we cultivate that sense of awareness? How do we learn to recognize the silver cups in our own lives?
Yeah.
What can we do to sharpen our perception and become more attuned to the subtle whispers of the universe?
I think that's where practices like mindfulness and introspection come in. By slowing down, quieting the mind, and paying attention to our inner landscape, we create space to notice those subtle nudges, those synchronicities that might otherwise pass us by.
And it's not just about passive observation. It's about engaging with the world around us with a sense of curiosity and wonder. Asking questions, exploring different perspectives, and being open to the possibility that there might be more to things than we initially realize.
It's about becoming active participants in our own destinies, co-creating our reality by aligning ourselves with the forces that are trying to guide us.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of this story.
Yeah.
The silver cup wasn't just given to Mr. Dickinson. It was poured, suggesting a transmission of energy, a bestowing of blessings.
It implies that there's an active element to this, that we're not just passive recipients of fate, but that we have a role to play in shaping our own destinies.
It's a powerful reminder that we have agency, that we can choose to align ourselves with those forces that are trying to guide us to become conscious collaborators in the unfolding of our lives.
So it sounds like recognizing our own silver cups isn't just about paying attention,
Right.
but also about being willing to act when these signs appear.
Yeah.
Almost like stepping through a doorway the universe has opened for us.
It is about making choices that align with those nudges and synchronicities we were discussing. And to your point about doorways,
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful analogy.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests that these signs aren't just pointing us in a direction, but inviting us to step into a new possibility, a new way of being.
But isn't there a danger of reading too much into things? Of seeing meaning where there is none?
Sure.
I mean, we've all had those moments where we thought something was a sign, and it turned out to be a total dud.
Of course, discernment is key. And that's where intuition comes in.
Okay.
It's that inner knowing, that gut feeling that tells us whether something is truly resonant or just a product of wishful thinking.
So how do we cultivate that intuition? It's not like we can just order it up on demand.
It's a practice just like anything else.
Yeah.
It involves slowing down, paying attention to our inner landscape, and noticing those subtle whispers of guidance that often come in the form of feelings, images, or even physical sensations.
And probably being willing to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, of course.
Because let's face it, we're not always going to get it right.
Absolutely. The process of trial and error, of learning to distinguish between the voice of our ego and the voice of our soul.
But even if we made a wrong turn, I guess that can still be part of the journey.
Yeah.
Leading us to where we're supposed to be.
That's a great point. As the saying goes, sometimes you have to get lost to find yourself. And who knows, maybe those wrong turns are actually essential detours, helping us to gather the experiences and wisdom we need to fulfill our true purpose.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about being open to the journey, trusting the process, and being willing to learn and grow along the way.
Precisely. And I think that's a beautiful takeaway from this story of the Silver Cup.
Yeah.
It's not just about the destination, but about the transformative power of the journey itself.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's inspired me to be more mindful, to pay attention to those subtle signs and synchronicities, and to trust that even the most ordinary moments can hold extraordinary meaning.
As you continue on your own journey, remember to look for those silver cups in your life. They may be hidden in plain sight, disguised as everyday encounters, unexpected opportunities, or moments of quiet reflection. But if you approach life with curiosity and an open heart, you'll be amazed at what you discover.
And who knows, maybe you'll even find yourself being poured blessings you couldn't have even imagined.
It happened.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.